Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be discussing about Usha Martin Limited, right? So what does Usha Martin do? Usha Martin also does wires and ropes. When you talk about wires and ropes, they make this heavy wires and rope which goes into these bridges, whether it is oil and refineries, the heavy wires and ropes that we see or in elevators that you come across. Similar to Bharat wires and rope model, in fact, both of them are in the same industry and they're each other's competitors. Okay? So now let's go ahead and see Usha Martin ka result, and what we will do is we'll do a comparison between both Usha Martin as well as Bharat Wire Ropes. ठीक है, अगर आप उषा मार्टिन का year on year revenue और bottom line देखते हो, the revenue has been down by 4.3% and PAT has been up by 40%. ठीक है, now of course, just like I covered in Bharat Wire Ropes, Q2 is lean. Q1 and Q2 are usually lean because Q4 is their best quarter. So Q4, when you compare Q1 to Q4, it will be less only because of that high base effect. The next thing is Q2. Q2 में monsoon होता है, so a lot of this infrastructure project is put on hold. As a result, Q2 is also weak for them. ठीक है? So now here, if I have to compare it with here also it is the same. अगर आप देखते हो ये PAT जो है, it has grown 40% in spite of not having the top line, is because simple such चीज है. यहाँ पे भी वही raw material का expansion, because all these prices have been falling because of that only. अगर आप देखते हो Bharat Wire Ropes, what was there? There the revenue grew by 6.3%, ठीक है, and the PAT grew by 60%. Versus in Usha Martin, the top line only is down by 4.3% and the PAT has been up only by 40%. ठीक है, so in both the terms, if I have to see revenue और PAT में Bharat Wire wins compared to Usha Martin. ठीक है, in terms of PAT margin has increased. PAT margin अभी 13.5 है उषा मार्टिन का versus 9.4 last year. ठीक है, so PAT margin तो improve होगा ही as PAT is improved. Now if I have to compare again Usha Martin versus Bharat Wire, Usha Martin का PAT margin है 13.5, whereas Bharat Wire का PAT margin is around 15%. EBITDA margin is also same. अगर आप EBITDA margin देखते हो, Usha Martin का EBITDA margin है 21.6, whereas Bharat Wire का EBITDA margin है 26%. So all, अगर आप revenue, PAT, operating leverage, the pace at which the profit has grown, and अगर आप देखते हो PAT margin और EBITDA margin, in all of these five things, Bharat Wire is way more competent compared to Usha Martin. In all five metrics, Bharat Wire Ropes has done way better than that of Usha Martin. ठीक है, अगर आप if I have to see in terms of क्या हो रहा है, first thing is, another thing is volume growth. अगर आप देखते हो, ठीक है, we saw that Bharat Wire Ropes में volume growth था 11%. ठीक है, पर यहाँ पे volume degrowth हुआ है in Usha Martin. So Usha Martin used to make 50,000 tons last year, same time last year, but this time it has been 45,000 tons. So वॉल्यूम जो है डीग्रोथ हुआ है. इन टर्म्स ऑफ भारत वायर, लाइक आई टोल्ड यू, 11% का वॉल्यूम ग्रोथ है. एंड नॉट ओनली दैट, not only volume growth, not only, how do I put this, not only volume growth, but having said that, उनका जो added value added products जो है, even that has increased. If you see the same time last year Q2FY23 में उनका hardly like single low digit में था भारत वायर रोप का, and now it is around double digit, somewhere around low double digit, 11 to 12% it might be. Here अगर आप देखते हो उनका वॉल्यूम ग्रोथ जो आ रहा है, whether it is how do I put, Usha Martin, the volumes अगर आप देखते हो वायर का हो, LRPC जो है, that is low relaxed what is it, low relaxation pre-stressed concrete जो है, which is like a value added product जो उनका है, वहां पर भी like overall अगर आप देखते हो volume degrowth हुआ है. ठीक है, so that is one thing. So company has right now, they also have understood this thing and they're having two big objectives now. First is increase the portion of value added products, क्योंकि जितना आप value added बेचोगे उतना आपका margin expansion होगा. दूसरा है to increase volume and value through capex. ठीक है, now अगर आप देखते हो volume और value capex के कैसा increase होगा, अगर आप देख सकते हो कि like उनका एक capex चल रहा है, 3 phase capex. पहला फेज है रांची में और फिर थाईलैंड में फेज 1 एंड फेज 2 होने वाला है. अगर आप देखते हो जो अभी जो है हो रहा है कि रांची का केपेक्स जो है, इट इज ऑलमोस्ट कंप्लीटेड, इट इज गोइंग ऑन ट्रैक एंड इट शुड बी फुली ऑपरेशनल इन Q4. इन Q3 में इट विल बी आई थिंक पार्शियली ऑपरेशनल एंड इन Q4 आपका फुल बेनिफिट्स या फुली ऑपरेशनल हो जाएगा. ठीक है, दैट इज वन थिंग. नाउ ओवरऑल कमेंट्री जो है, अगर आप देखते हो वायर्स एंड रोप्स का, देयर इज टू थिंग्स दैट इज हैपनिंग. इवन भारत वायर रोप्स आल्सो टोल्ड द सेम थिंग कि लाइक यहाँ पे जो एक इम्पैक्ट होने वाला है, क्योंकि यूरोप का जो है, यूरोप पे थोड़ा स्लो डाउन हो रहा है. ठीक है, सो एंड अगर आप देखते हो उषा मार्टिन हैज हाईएस्ट revenue coming from export. I think 55% exports से आ रहा है, and this could impact them way more compared to Bharat Wire because of the slowdown in Europe. ठीक है, and now they're trying to mitigate into Australia and Middle East, and GCC countries. That is also there. ठीक है. The other thing is there is a good growth in US for them. Even अगर आप भारत वायर एंड रोप्स भी देखते हो, वो भी उन्होंने भी वही बोला है, क्योंकि जो एलिवेटर्स रोप्स जो यूज करते हैं ये लोग, ठीक है, दैट्स ऑफ 50% इंक्रीज ऑन ईयर ऑन ईयर. ठीक है, क्रेन रोप्स जो होता है उसमें भी वॉल्यूम्स डबल हो चुका है. माइनिंग रोप्स जो है इवन दैट हैज बीन गेटिंग अ गुड ट्रैक्शन. ठीक है, बट द प्रॉब्लम हियर इज दिस. उनका जो there are two types of ropes, right? One is a normal rope जो है, and the other one that is there is your high value addition. एक है general purpose rope, and the other one is your high value. But यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? Here you have to sell. In general ropes में आपका margin इतना अच्छा नहीं होता है, ठीक है? So you have to sell more and more volume, ठीक है? And it is low value product. इसके वजह से क्या हो रहा है? Since it is like, how do I put it? In simple terms, if I have to put it, is like an economic product versus a premium product. आपका value added जो है premium product है, तो वहां पे उतना कंपटीशन नहीं होगा. इकोनॉमिक प्रोडक्ट है तो ज्यादा कंपटीशन होगा, स्पेशली इन द अनऑर्गेनाइज्ड मार्केट एंड एवरीथिंग, राइट? सो हियर आल्सो देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ कंपटीशन that they are seeing here, and even this is coming especially from Asian manufacturers, and इसके वजह से थोड़ा सा प्राइसिंग प्रेशर का इम्पैक्ट भी हो सकता है. दिस इज समथिंग दैट भारत वायर्स didn't mention, and they told US is going all hunky dory for them. ठीक है, this is one thing. In more refined words, if I have to put it again, it's like comparing के like जो फुटवेयर सेगमेंट में हुआ था रिलैक्सो के, how रिलैक्सो suffered in terms of inflation and pricing pressure की वजह से, versus let's say the likes of Metro and Red Tape did really well, right? So this is the same kind of situation here. Other than that, if you see, again, a company is trying to increase its presence in, like I told you, GCC countries में, Saudi में, because वहाँ पे अभी पूरा एक in the GCC countries is really trying to develop. If you look at Saudi has a 2030 vision, and they're attracting a lot of foreign investments there, right? Because and वहाँ पे तो जितना infrastructure होगा उतना बढ़ेगा, and Saudi is famous for its oil fields, right? So there they are trying to establish a presence. And the other thing is, like, they are trying to establish a presence even in the domestic market, because you all know, because of the policies of the government that has been there. But either in terms of कोई भी आप government funding देखो, या public funding या private funding देखो, it has been at an all-time high. Any kind of sector you see, whether it is railways, whether you say in terms of airports, in terms of infras, in terms of roads, we are seeing the highest ever funding being happening, right? So as a result, क्या हुआ? They are also trying to focus and pick up the sales here in terms of domestic and Asian markets. This is what they're trying to do. But having said that, there has been, like, you can see a little bit of caution in terms of that European market, like I told you, slowdown, and US market पे थोड़ा pricing pressure आ सकता है. And to add on to that, the fact that volumes have been degrowing is not a good sign. ठीक है, that is another thing. The other thing is, like, जो उनका even the management has told, अगर उनको bottom line, if they have to grow the bottom line at a faster pace, then there are two things they have to do. One is increase the value added products, and the other thing is the volume growth of buyers जो है, that they have to increase, right? These two are both very very necessary, and we've seen both of them got impacted this quarter. ठीक है, अगर आप देखते हो तो LRPC volumes जो है, yeah, LRPC volumes जो है, even that was down because they have a plant in Bihar, ठीक है, and वहाँ पे what has happened is a lot of monsoon was there, and because of this monsoon they were not able to manufacture, workers were not able to come to the factory, and उनका जो एक वो LRPC का है, plasticated LRPC, it got affected. I think the company could produce only 500 tons this quarter, and they could have done more, but unfortunately due to the rain and everything, the entire LRPC volume was also gone out of the window only. So overall, in terms, like I told you, there is nothing positive this quarter. Having said that, the only thing is, like, they are hopeful about the fact that H2 will be better than H1, because H2 is very strong. That is where they're seeing, and they are hopeful that the volume growth will come back. This is what Usha Martin has been telling. There is nothing in terms of guidance or any other thing. Okay? So overall, if I have to compare in terms of, like, Bharat Wire and Rope and Usha Martin, BWR has done quite well on all metrics, whether it is PAT, bottom line, operating leverage, आप देखते हो EBITDA margins, PAT margins, volume growth, even in terms of demand, अगर आप देख सकते हो, like, what the company has been telling, even in terms of guidance, even they have given a guidance also. So all in all, BWR seems like a very good play compared to Usha Martin in this space. The other thing I would like to highlight here is the only difference between Usha Martin and BWR is BWR is a small company relatively when you compare to Usha Martin, and it doesn't have a brand. So that is something they're trying very hard to establish and trying to establish a kind of trust with their customers. Whereas Usha Martin here, if you Usha Martin is a well-established brand in this space, not just in the domestic market but also in the foreign or the export market. So that is the only difference between both of them. But having said that, you can see that agar aap BWR ka bhi dekhte ho, you will see that they have been how do I put this, unka jo working capital ka issue tha, they had to earlier give I've covered it even in the BWR video also, that earlier they had to give advance, they were collecting advance and giving a discount to their customers, right? Now that is also not there, and they have got a good reputation. Because of that, you can also tell unka bhi slowly brand building in this space mein ho raha hai. So overall, a good result, I wouldn't say good, but a decent ish kind of numbers. But in again reiterating the fact, agar aap dekho, in comparison BWR has done a way much better job, because the most important factor yahan pe, like I told you, is the volume growth. और अब volume growth अगर आप देख रहे हो, भारत वायर के 11% और इसका it has been degrown. So it is something to wait and watch until Q3 and see, because Q3 and Q4 are their best quarters, to wait and see how the volumes and how the top line also reacts, and what is the level of impact we see from the US and Europe ka problems. So having said that, that's that about Usha Martin. So see you again next time. Bye.